What's up, everybody? This is Terminator Juice, and welcome to Juice Reviews Affordable Space Adventures. Affordable Space Adventures is an indie title developed exclusively for the Wii U. Digital-only title, can only be purchased on the Wii U eShop. Developed by Nap Knock Games out of Denmark. Released on the Wii U on April 9th, 2015. And it is, in my opinion, it's a 2D puzzle platformer / survival horror game. I did not read the official description of the game, but yeah, that's what it is. And as usual for my reviews, I'm going to go through 4 topics: gameplay, presentation, content, and challenge. Give a grade for each, give a quick reason why I gave it that grade, and then an overall score at the end. And the overall score will not be like an exact average of the previous 4 categories grades. So it's just kind of my gut feeling, when I was thinking about the game at the end after I finished it. So let's start with gameplay, the most important category, in my opinion, of any video game. And for Affordable Space Adventures, I give it an A- in the gameplay department. Excellent controls and probably the best use of the gamepad to date, I would say. In my personal opinion, even better than Zombie U. Really uses the touchscreen, and basically they built the whole game around the touchscreen, and also uses the gyro controls to a limited extent. So basically you control your ship with the left stick. You can move it around, and the right stick controls your like your light and your scanner. And then the touchscreen is used to your abilities. You have a gas engine, electric engine, and various stability, anti-gravity functions at which you can power up and level up. And then there's a heat, noise, and electricity meter. And the basic gameplay idea, or the basic premise of the game, is you start at a point, you're in a ship, and you need to get to the next area. And there'll be some kind of obstacle, some kind of challenge presented to you, and you have to use the abilities of the ship, and control the ship in a way to get past the objective. And then once you get to that end of that area, it goes to a loading screen, and then you're in a new area. So it's like the levels are kind of broken up. There's no overworld map or anything, but you go, you start, over here. You find a way to get through, and then you go off, screen, really kind of like a cave or something. You'll see an obvious exit point, and then the next level will be the same thing over with the loading screen in between. So that's the basic idea of the game. Like I said, excellent controls, great use of the gamepad. You get new abilities. You start off very basic, just with the gas engine and thrust, and then you gain new abilities the further you go, and those are important for how you progress in the game, and how you approach new challenges. There are alien, like robotic creatures that you have to scan, and it creates like a bubble, and it tells you what they're sensitive to. Like, let's say one's sensitive to noise, and if you go in that bubble and you create too much noise, it's going to shoot you, and you're going to basically fail the level, have to start over. So that's basically the whole concept for the whole game. A few of the challenges aren't getting past the aliens. There's just some switches you have to find here and there. So but yeah, it's kind of broken up, like I said, into small areas, and then the new ability usually is the solution for that area. So overall, the gameplay is really solid, and it's nice to see a game built around the gamepad, and really couldn't be played on anything other than a PC, maybe with dual monitors and using the keyboard, having a bunch of things like tied to keys, like you could map any of the functions to specific keys or something, or you'd actually have to drag your mouse over. It just wouldn't be ideal on anything other than the Wii U and the dual screens, especially having the touch screen. So yeah, I gave gameplay an A-, and I would say the negative to the gameplay is there isn't a ton of like fun moments. It's more of a just to challenge yourself. Can I get past this part? It's frustrating, but I want to get to the next level. I want to see what new ability the ship gets, and it's more of a determination more than having just like a blast or anything. So it's not really intended to be a fun game because of the survival horror. It's kind of a moody, atmospheric. So that would be a kind of a negative to the gameplay. Is it just doesn't make you want to play it constantly, and it's just not super fun. But that wasn't its purpose. Not every game has to just be all about having fun. It's just about challenging yourself and finding a solution to the problem at hand. So for me, that would be the only slight negative to the gameplay. Next up, we got presentation, and I gave this a B plus. I want to give it an A, but there is a technical problem. I'll get to that in a second, but I want to say just they've created a great atmosphere, very eerie, using a really cool art style that really works. It's a 2D platformer, if you can call it that, but it's on a 2D plane, but there's a lot of things in the foreground, a lot of things in the background, and the excellent use of the lighting engine really sells the visuals of this game. And there's times when you get kind of close to something and I forgot my light was facing the other way, and I focus it in front of me, and the lighting kind of painting across the ground at a solid 60 frames per second just looks very believable. Looks very realistic at times with even though it's more of an art style, it's not based on complete realism. It does give a good realistic feel at times in a fantasy kind of setting on an alien planet. So the sound design also is excellent. There's some not scary, but jump moments when your ship just suddenly blows up, and I with my surround sound on, it startled me a few times. And there's some really creepy like the alien robots sound like it reminded me of War of the Worlds, the Steven Spielberg movie. Just the sound design added to the creepiness of the game. And just overall visually impressive. And it uses the gamepad audio separate, just like with the asymmetric gameplay with the screens. The audio is also asymmetric. You have to have your gamepad volume up to get certain alerts and to hear your ship when it's overheating or something. You'll hear this tick, tick, tick coming from your gamepad. So really good use of that. The only problem is with the presentation are the loading times. And I don't know if they did it to build tension or to prolong the length of the game, but if you get through a level, let's say the first couple levels, the challenge isn't that hard, and you get through it in a minute, then you got to wait almost a minute for loading to get to the next level, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't think it's exactly technical, because I know the Wii U loads things very fast. I don't know. So that would be why I gave presentation a B plus, just because the loading time is a little annoying. They do have some full screen images and like a little handbook they show of the ship, and it teaches you things, but you've already learned them by the time you're seeing them in the loading screen. So next we'll get to content, and this one is a little bit tricky because this is an indie game, but it's a higher priced indie game at $20. I give the content a C. I got through the game in 5.5 hours, and there's really no replay value unless you had friends come over, which I didn't mention in the gameplay. I've never tried it, but you can actually play with 3 players where one person controls the touch screen, another person controls the movement of the ship, and the third person controls where the scanner and the light is focused. So I guess there might be some replay value to play it with somebody else, but just as a single player game, now that I know the solution to all the levels, I could blow through it. I almost guarantee you I could finish it in under an hour. And I really don't have any incentive to. And so that's kind of a bummer, but it's an indie game, and they had a smaller team, but still for $20, I was hoping for a little bit more content. It does, by the time you're at the end, you're kind of like, okay, that, I didn't really want to play a whole lot more, because you gained all the abilities, and there wasn't anything else new coming. So it was just like they did kind of have a clever way to end it. I don't want to spoil anything. So, but overall, I don't think it's worth a $20 purchase for this amount of content. And I mean, it's hard to say. It's personal opinion. I mean, the Order 1886 is almost the same length, and that was a full $60 game. So just depends on your budget, and if you really like puzzle platformers and creepy style games, it's definitely going to be worth it. But as far as content, it's not, you know, overflowing. There's no collectibles. There's no extra stuff. So so I gave it a C. Next up would be the challenge of the game, and this is my final category. I give challenge a B minus. It was a good amount of challenge. There was a few times where I was scratching my head, didn't think I was going to be able to figure it out, and thought maybe I was going to have to look it up online. But then I'm just like, all right, what was the last ability I got? I'll try that, mix that with something else, and got through the level. I'll give you an example. There's a point where you get a landing gear on your ship, where they, you know, get access to it, and you have normal landing gear. You have a sticky suction cup landing gear. As soon as you land on something, you can't fly away, and if it's small enough, you can actually carry it away. And then the third landing gear is actually like some skis. So there's a point where this alien bot was like, the bubble was everywhere, so I could not get past it with any kind of sound. You couldn't make a sound at all, and it was on a flat plane. And I just got up enough speed with that ski landing gear. I killed my engines and landed, got silent with enough momentum to slide past and get to the next area. So you know, you do have to use your brain, lots of common sense. Once you know, figure it out, you're like, duh, how did I not figure that out sooner? But it doesn't hold your hand, and you do have to figure out the problem yourself. So I did like the challenge. I felt for someone like me who's very stubborn and is going to get past the level no matter what, it was nice that I did get challenged a few times. But like I said, now that I know what to do, there's really no challenge left other than just pulling off the maneuver. In most situations, knowing what to do is probably 70% of the levels, and the other 30% would be actually pulling it off. So so I'll give B minus for challenge. Overall, I gave it a B. I felt pretty good about my purchase, but like I said, it's not exactly a fun experience, but it is rewarding, and it is a creepy, kind of takes you out of your comfort zone kind of feeling. And for that, I do give it credit. But like I said, it's not like I'm laughing or having a blast while playing. So, but it's a solid game. Excellent use of the gamepad, touch screen. The gyros, I forgot to mention, you actually sometimes you have to angle your ship, and you tilt the gamepad and your ship will angle, and then you can get down like an angled corridor. But overall, like I said, a B. Definitely if this game gets below 15 bucks, $12, $13 range would probably be really good for it. 10 or below, I would say must buy, just because of the use of the gamepad alone, and the presentation was solid. But you know, if you don't really care for puzzle games or platforming games, maybe pass this one up. But for me personally, I thought it was a really good game, and happy to have it in my collection. I just wish there was a little bit more replay value. Maybe in a year or two, I could, you know, pick it up again, and, you know, won't quite remember everything, all the solutions, and it might be worth a second playthrough someday down the road. But yeah, so that's basically going to be it for this review. Affordable Space Adventures. So if you're interested, if what I said sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. And look forward to my next review, which will be Splatoon. In a couple months. I'm going to give that game a lot of time before I actually sit down and do a review. So I don't like to do reviews right away and just to catch the popular, you know, when it's most popular and try to get the most views. I like to actually sit down, take my time with the game, and give it a fair, you know, playthrough before I do a review. So that's going to be it for this review, and we'll see you next time.